And our third main topic today gets submitted to us by Nathan Billups, who writes, "Greetings, John and Robert. Marvel has put out a lot of surprise hits, but I think the biggest one in the MCU has been Guardians of the Galaxy. I love these movies and just saw Chris Pratt say that they've already started shooting Guardians of the Galaxy 3. James Gunn also said that Guardians 3 hasn't been delayed, unlike all the other projects. What do you think, or why do you think that is? And are you excited that it started shooting?" All right, thanks a lot for sending that in, Nathan. And yes, you know, Guardians of the Galaxy for sure is kind of the poster child. Is the poster child for Marvel having the ability to surprise everybody, because everybody forgets now, because Guardians of the Galaxy is a big hit now. But when they announced that they were doing Guardians of the Galaxy, everybody was like, who? They're doing what? And everybody kind of questioned Kevin Feige and Disney and Marvel's sanity, you know, building off the big hits that they had been building up with these established iconic characters. And then they were going to do Guardians of the Galaxy. Now, everybody today rewrites history and say, oh yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy, big hit, but they forget what a huge risk that was. That was a massive roll of the dice. And it was the first time in a while that like either DC or Marvel really came out of the gate with a complete unknown set of characters on a big budget, now in outer space, all this kind of stuff. And it was huge. And it ended up being fantastic. Guardians of the Galaxy is amazing. Now, I like Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I didn't like Guardians of the Galaxy 2, Rob, as much, like maybe even nearly as much as the first Guardians of the Galaxy. It was still good. I still liked it. Mary Poppins, y'all. But I thought it was a bit of a step down, but I was super excited. And Rob, one of the other reasons I think we should be talking about this is the James Gunn element, but we'll get to that in a second. This comes to us from the folks over at Coming Soon, who write, "Following the recent casting of Will Poulter as fan favorite Marvel hero Adam Warlock, Guardians of the Galaxy star Chris Pratt took to Twitter to reveal that production on James Gunn's long-awaited third installment has finally begun after 4 years since the premiere of the sequel. Despite Marvel Studios' recent release date delays on other MCU films, Gunn has confirmed that Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 will still be keeping its May 5th, 2023 theatrical release date as planned." All right, Rob, you know, when I see that a movie, we call it the tangibilization, when I see a movie has started production, it's like, oh, now it's real, right?
Right.
But I'll tell you what my mind instantly went to when, and there, you know, Chris Pratt put a video of himself sitting in a getting ready to go on set chair and his hair. When I saw Chris Pratt saying, "We're on set of Guardians of the Galaxy 3, we started shooting," my mind instantly went back a couple of years ago to the bomb that dropped about Disney and James Gunn had parted ways, about that whole drama that went on with James Gunn, the old tweets, Alan Horn, all that kind of stuff, and that whole drama, and how much of a shock that was to the fan community world. It's like, are you kidding me? You fired James Gunn over 10-year-old tweets? But that aside, it was a major shift and really the first big blemish on this huge happy MCU Marvel family portrait that they had been painting. And it was the first kind of cracks in the concrete, and it was really weird. And so I couldn't help but think of that today, Rob, as I watched Chris Pratt in that chair saying, oh yeah, the Guardians 3 with James Gunn, we start shooting today. Because that was a long, weird journey they went on that. As far as the whole part about the fact that Guardians 3 is like one of the only projects they have that didn't get moved. Because remember, yesterday we talked about how Marvel has moved like almost everything everything on their release schedule. Guardians didn't. Rob, my only theory on this as to why Guardians didn't get budged at all was that maybe Guardians 3 is the most disconnected of all the upcoming movies. Like, yeah, this Doctor Strange has to come out before this comes out, before this comes out, before this comes out. Therefore, if one moves, you kind of got to move all of them. Blah. This kind of hints to me maybe that Guardians 3 is probably more of a truly standalone film where it doesn't really matter where it falls in terms of the other films. Again, I'm just speculating on that. But anyway, Rob, let me put it to you. Number one, what do you think about the fact that Guardians 3 kind of snuck up on us by surprise, came out of nowhere, and is now actually in production? But secondly, why do you think it became like the movie that didn't get moved when a lot of the other ones did?
Well, first of all, I wouldn't say it snuck up on us because that script was finished ages
ago. Yeah.
And that the fact that they brought James Gunn back as a director, and we know he finished his work on Peacemaker, and Suicide Squad's come out. So to me, it's only, and he's been talking about it in social media that he's starting up again. And, so I don't think it's come out of nowhere. And I think that that first of all, I think it's just far enough out that they didn't, it can keep its date because it's beyond the movies they're moving. I don't think they've pushed a movie past it, have they? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
So I think that date was the date that they were like leaning up against because they've already announced it. So they figured, yeah, it might have something. I mean, I would say that after Eternals, it would be very interesting. I would imagine that somehow Guardians 3 has to have some kind of a tenuous connection to it.
Well, I mean, what we can say, because it's already public knowledge, we know that Celestials are in Eternals. They showed that in the trailers. In Guardians of the Galaxy, there are two major references to Celestials. Number one, Nowhere is just a big floating head of a dead Celestial. And of course, Peter Quill's father was himself a Celestial. Peter Quill is part Celestial. So there's already, without giving anything from Eternals away, we can at least say there's at least that connection a little bit.
And also, doesn't the Collector talk about Celestials? Don't we? We've also seen that, whether it's a video or something where we actually see
flashback of the Infinity Stones talk. Yes, we saw Celestial
so we've
there.
Seen that. And also, I mean, there's other things that we've seen involving Celestials that speak to stuff that may or may not happen in future movies.
Right.
So, and I think the Celestials moving forward, as you said to me, you said something really interesting that with the Celestials obviously being a presence in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and also we have Kang, and Kang has always been a big bad in the Marvel Universe. We know Kang's in Quantumania. We saw a version of Kang in Loki. And Kang has been a frequent Avengers foe. Like, I think they're setting up a number of different threats potentially in the future of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which we will see. I'm very curious because all of these things are much more cosmic in nature. Kang's traveling through realities, the quantum universe, the multiverse, whatever. Celestials obviously were involved with the creation of the universe and are definitely maybe might even exceed the Infinity Stones. How does potentially Galactus fit into all this? I don't know. But, it's funny to me, John. I am, as a middle-aged man close to death, I find myself giddy at the prospect of still being excited by the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I mean, it really is like, I love Marvel Comics growing up, and to see the comics being translated into these giant on-screen entertainments just writ large on the big screen that just keep getting bigger and bigger. It's kind of neat, man. I mean, it's nice to be excited about something. And I'm still excited about the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And we've got a new Spider-Man movie. What's not to love, dude?
Well, the question is for you guys. What do you think about this? The Guardians of the Galaxy 3, we're a long way away from the announcement came that James Gunn and had left Disney and all that kind of stuff. And yet here we are again. It started shooting. Also the fact that it's the one film that didn't get moved off its release date. What are you guys thinking about all this? Jump on down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts.